Hello. I've no idea whether this is working. I've had a complete technical fail as I was setting up, but hopefully you can hear me. Frost and Fist is in the chat, and Mark Potter's there as well. So Mark or Frost and Fist, and Jordan Fletcher, can you let me know if you can hear me okay? That's all I want to know at this stage is, how's the sound? Because I've had all sorts of problems today. I only just got back from weekend away with the family, so I just thought, you know what, I need to get some stuff done, need to get some stuff built, so I thought why not just do a live hobby session and kind of do as a crossover Monday Muse. So I'm open for you guys to say hello, ask questions, ask a chat. It's not about Space Wars, but I do have the codex here just in case you got any questions. So hopefully you can, you know, if there's anything left over from the chat on that one, I can answer a few questions. Do my best to look out for everything, so I'm not quite set up properly at the moment. You can see me looking off of here. That's because my computer's half constructed over there, and there's a screen over here, and there's a camera up there, which isn't normally there as well. So, it's a mess, but you know, yeah, we'll still have some fun tonight. I've got my glue, I've got a knife, I've got masking tape. That's everything you need, basically. Everything you need to make some HobbyZone fun. So I'm going to do a bit of that and see who comes and joins me on the chat. Martin Dix is in there saying hey hey. Diphilus Maximus is in there. Frost and Fist, looks like you had a sunny holiday. It's probably just the camera work. I did get caught in the sun. We were out on the sea, so we've got this like inflatable kayak, and we inflated that, and myself and Jack went out, and we ended up, I think, we ended up about just under a mile offshore, but that's okay. We're old hats at sailing and stuff like that, so we had a paddle out to a place called the Moorings, which is where people moor all their boats in a shallow behind an island just off North Wales. So we had a good old paddle, disappeared off into the sunset, much to Sarah's distress, but then came back about half an hour later paddling away. And I think although it wasn't particularly sunny, you do get caught by the sun when you're out at sea, so there you go. One Spaz11 says hi all, hey, how you doing? And what else we got? Diphilus Maximus says sound coming through fine. Quick hello from Martin Dix saying hi Diphilus as well. I've just kicked something, already hurt my toe, but other than that I think we're good. So that's it. I'm going to start the show. We are into good news is as well, of course, I've got my super fast broadband, so I believe I'm actually broadcasting on 1080p for a change as well. So this is the first time I think I've attempted to broadcast at 1080p. So again, people, please let me know how that goes. A quick hello as I have work tonight, says Baz. Baz, never mind though, never mind. You know, you've got to do work first. Work always comes first. But thank you for popping in and saying hello as well. Right, I'm going to make a start on these. So I've got a whole bunch of these already made actually. It'd be shocking if I pan the camera to the side how much of this I've already got made. But there's quite a bit, which I'm pretty excited about. That I'd say about 2/3 of it was bought for me as a birthday present. Some of it was kindly donated by HobbyZone. They included a few extra parts when they found out what I was trying to do, which was really great of them. And then the rest I've kind of snuck in as additional purchases as the entire scheme has gone. So I don't know whether anybody's seen the custom housing I built for my spray booth and my airbrush as well. So I've actually been building some custom bits and bobs. But this is 2 sets of OMS 1Bs, which is essentially the 20 centimeter wide units. So anything with an S after OM. Can you guys see that? You know what? Let's cut to this camera if it will. There you go. So anything with an S after the OM is the smaller size basically. So they're 20mm wide, and then you've got the larger ones which are 30mm wide. So I was just going to have a go at sticking one of these together basically, and all the while keeping up with the chat. What else have we got in there? Baz Dix says switch jobs now, so night work, but I got myself a girlfriend who is now interested in painting. Awesome. That's got to be the ideal, isn't it? That's perfect. And Diphilus Maximus says YouTube only give me the option to view in 720, but it seems okay so far at that. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I've actually got the show set at 720, even though I'm broadcasting at 1080. And you know what? Now is not the time to mess with it. So, okay. Well, it's going out at 1080. That's the good news. Even if you guys can only view it at 720. I bet I forgot to change a setting somewhere. I know I forgot to change a setting somewhere. So thank you very much, Devimus. Martin Dick says, night work, not night work, okay, got that. Elster Nation says, howdy all. Hi, Elster Nation, how you doing, mate? Good to see you on the chat. We ought to catch up. It's been a while, but it's been the holiday period in my day job. So that meant I've been basically the only member of the management team sort of thing in, which has meant I've been pretty busy. So I'm a little bit behind on everything at the moment, but I am starting to catch up now. We had this weekend away, which was pretty important to Sarah. We were going back to a place that we used to go with my father-in-law, rest his soul. So it was a bit of a thing to kind of celebrate that. And we've done that for the weekend, and we're back now, which means I can get on with all of this stuff. So, what do you get in a HobbyZone? If no one's seen a HobbyZone box before, what you get is all of the parts. They are not, whilst they're MDF, they're not laser cut. They are machined, so no burnt edges, and it also means obviously some of the parts are thicker. That's a big part, I think, of the HobbyZone stuff, that, you know, a lot of the framework and a lot of the structure is 5mm MDF, as opposed to the sort of 2-3mm MDF, so you've got this thicker MDF, and you don't have the burn edges sort of thing. Not that that's a problem, to be honest. I really like the smell of burnt MDF, but there you go, that's one of it. These are, that's going to be the top and bottom. And you'll notice these cool little holes, and that's because these things come with magnets, which is awesome. So they slot nicely into there. They do need a bit of a whack. We'll worry about that later, and I'll explain why. But essentially that means all of these units magnetize. And what's really nice, if you heard that sharp clack there, that was me just putting those magnets onto one of the pieces that I've already built. So these things are configurable. You can just take them apart, clap them together in a different order. If you want a larger set of drawers near you, you kind of discover that you've been using, you need more space in your drawers, you can swap them over for one that's further away on the desk. That's what I really like about this system. It's kind of like completely configurable. You don't glue it all together, but the magnets are super strong, so they snap together really well. What have we got going off in the chat? Scott says, hello Mr. Phil, long time since I got a live show. Are you taking part in Armies on Parade? Well, thank you for joining me, first and foremost. I'm talking too fast, aren't I? I've just realised I'm talking really fast. That's because I had that rush before we started the show, which inevitably always gets to me. Am I doing Armies on Parade? Our local games workshop has certainly advertised it. I'm half tempted, I'm half tempted to do something with the Fire Slayers, because they've been kind of progressing in the background. Or maybe with the Genestealer cult, actually, because they're the ones that are currently on my desk. So, maybe them as well. Yeah, maybe is the answer to that. Aha, live after all, says Thornton. Yeah, and sorry for anybody who tuned into the first show. That failed for some reason. I did have some kind of network bug out. And then YouTube, if the stream gets interrupted in that way, YouTube decided that the show had finished. So it was only live for about 1/10 of a second. So sorry to everybody who didn't even or at least only spotted the show for about 4 seconds. We've got a few people in actually looking at the show, so don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. I'm going to do that because I don't think any of the wonderful people are in the chat that normally do those. Remember to do those things. So if you could do that, that would be lovely. Helps promote our content. Has anybody caught the Space Wolf Codex review that we did? I'm interested to see what people thought of that, because we tried something a little bit different there. So I know Frost and Fist may have seen it. Derpimus Maximus says, anybody excited about October? Are you kidding me? Yes, majorly. Do I have room for another army? No. Does that buggy look amazing? Yes. I've seen some beautiful conversions of Aurochs, of course, as well, being done for Kill Team, floating around the internet. That was bound to happen. I'm slightly jealous I wasn't the first to get theirs up on the internet, because I was definitely going to do that at some point. But there you go. Beautiful stuff. Am I excited? Yes. I'm sure to imagine everybody else in the chat is pretty excited about that as well, even if they don't do 40k, because it's pretty exciting stuff. Right, I'm going to start putting this together. So they come with instructions, which is pretty good, and you can count all your pieces. I don't kind of at this stage, I don't think I need to. I kind of know how they go together now. It kind of recommends you stick the magnets in first. Strangely enough, I found rather than hammering them in, I use a piece of wood and I push them in, because I think it's less destructive on the MDF, and also I like to build them before I do it, because the first 2 or 3 I actually made mistakes with the orientation of the magnets. Learned my lesson there, and I've made life a lot easier for myself simply by putting the magnets in at the end. So yeah, fairly straightforward. Build the box, put the drawers in. That's what it should look like when it's finished. For those of you who've never seen any HobbyZone stuff, or there's just below me there, that's the HobbyZone website. Check it out, hobbyzone.pl. I love it. So I spent ages designing my little space, and I'm super happy now. I've got a whole rack for paints, and I've got my airbrush paints and my standard paints and my large pot paints, and I've got drawers for lots and lots of gubbins. And I've got wonderful little things like little corner drawers I can just stick my headphones in and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with it. Completely relaid my desk, and it's nice and tidy. And good news is as well, is now the airbrush bay is wonderfully clear of clutter, which means more airbrush tutorials. And I've even been working on like a new camera setup as well. So I'm pretty pleased with how that's looking as well. Ralph's in there saying good evening all, and Liam Badley is in there saying Bob Ross of Hobby Stationery. Thank you, Liam, that's good of you. Frost and Fist I may have, of course you've seen the Space Wolf Ggets review. Thank you very much for doing that, by the way. That was a last minute thing. Sam was unavailable because he's poorly, basically. The codex arrived. I had about 24 hours to turn the review around before I went away for the weekend. I didn't even bother Sam with it because I knew he was poorly, and I knew he'd feel terrible if I said I'm going on holiday in 24 hours and can you do, there's a Space Wolf Codex review need doing. So I didn't even bother him with it because I knew he was poorly, and he literally, as I was opening the box, I got a message from him saying he was even more poorly. So I left him alone, and I thought, what can I do? So it's a classic case of necessity being the mother of invention there. Jack was around and he knew Space Wolves, and he was off, so I left it with him for 2-3 hours to read through it, and he kind of knew what he was looking for. I got hold of Frost and Fist and said to him, look, we can't show you the codex, but what you could do is ask the questions that other Space Wolf players are looking to get answered. And that's what we did. Basically, we had like 10 minutes before the show set up. Frost and Fist, good old Methos, Wolf Brother Methos was awesome. He was onto Google Hangouts with Jack. We had about a 10-minute setup, and then we just hit record. And there's a little bit of editing, but most of it was just people just like giggling in between and stuff like that. So getting overexcited about the codex. So I didn't have to do much editing. I think I managed to get the whole thing done. I had to take the footage with me on holiday. And on the Saturday morning, it was due to go live on the 11 o'clock. And on the Saturday morning, I think I got up at about 5:30 in the morning. I started editing at 6. I finished it by 7. I was in the middle of nowhere, so it took until, I think, 9 o'clock to upload. It took 2 hours to upload. And then, of course, you've just got to get the thumbnails ready and everything else like that. So I got all of that sorted. And I think it was ready and scheduled on YouTube about 60 minutes before it was due to go live. So the whole thing was a close call. It was so. Thank you very much for stepping in. That was brilliant, and it really helped us out. Right, what else have we got in the chat now? Frost and Fist says, I was honoured, my friend. Well, no, the honour was ours. It was actually great fun. You've got such amazing energy, and we'd love to do more with you. I'd love to get you on the chat more, actually. You know what? You should probably dial in now, and we'll get you on this show somehow. Could we do that? Is that possible? You tell me on the chat whether you want to join us. I'll see if I can actually bring you in. Who knows what would happen to the show? It would probably break something, but I think it's kind of worth a shot, isn't it? Even if we break something. I'm sure we could make it happen. I'm not quite sure how, but I think we could. Anyway, maybe. You let me know if that's a possibility. Hope Sam is feeling better soon. I hope so too. I've not spoken to him since I've got back. I've literally, like I say, we've come in, we've messed around, unpacked everything, rinsed everything down from the salt water, and piled it all in the corner, nipped out to the kennel, fetched the dog back, my Lola, the German Shepherd, our little own, very own Space Wolf, has spent the weekend with her brothers and sisters at the kennels, because she goes back to the breeders, so she always has an amazing time. And there we are, I was setting up for a show. Scott says, Speed Freaks look good. What do you think? Yeah, just amazing. I'm so excited by it all. I mean, we all know the level, the quality of stuff that they're pumping out. Oh well, Frost and Fist can't join me. Never mind. One for the future then. DJ the Lucky One says hi all. Yeah, we all know the quality of the kits Games Workshop are pumping out at the moment. It's absolutely stunning. So it's you know, it just makes you so excited when you see a release like that, because you just know the kits are going to be absolutely fantastic. They're going to be brilliant. They're going to be incredibly detailed. They're going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, a little bit jealous. There we go. Right, I'm going to start putting this together as I'm talking, basically. So I've developed some crazy techniques. You don't use nails, you don't use anything like that. Essentially you use wood glue. I'm actually using this aliphatic resin, and it is a wood glue. They use it in sort of boat building and stuff like that, and model aeroplane building and things like that. And the reason they use it is because you can sand it. When it dries, it's not like PVA. It doesn't go super hard. It almost goes a little bit powdery. So you can actually, that's the wrong word really, but you can sand it. That's the main thing. It kind of, you know, it's more like wood at the end rather than a kind of a laminate in between. So I really like it. But again, I've got one tub of this, and this was given to me by my wife when her father passed away, because he used it for his model aeroplanes. So I've had this tub of glue, and I'm always cautious. Like, I don't want to do any major jobs where I kind of have to change the glue halfway through or anything like that. And because I wanted to be able to sand the drawers so they slide in and out properly in case there's any, you know, runoff and stuff like that. You know, what was really good about this was it was about the right amount I needed to do all of this stuff. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to use it, because I'm going to use it on something that's built to last. I'll be using this hobby furniture, this HobbyZone stuff, for the rest of my hobbying life, probably, if everything goes well. So it seemed an apt thing to use my father-in-law's wood glue on. So there you go. It's got an emotional value to me, shall we say. So I've developed a few techniques for doing this. One of them is kind of pre-preparing some of the tapes so you get like a better bond on it. So with that, I'll just do a little bit. Put that like that, and another piece on this side. And that just helps me kind of almost create an initial text just while it holds stuff temporarily while I put the sides on. What's going off in the chat? Frost and Fist. Oh, DJ the Lucky One says, oh my Gork, the buggies are amazing. Oh, tell me about it. What are we going to do with all of this stuff? Who's got room for all of this amazing stuff that keeps coming out? That's the problem. You know, I'm completely giddy about Adapters Titanicus. Really excited about this. I'll be back in a second. I need to get some paper towel. Reversing back in. Here we go. Am I back in focus? Not yet. There you go. I'm back in focus. Right. So I was really excited about Adapters Titanicus until I realised I've still got Gene Stealer Call to finish. I've got so many projects on at the moment. You just go, I kind of like need to take a break, you know, and just actually get something finished. But you know, it's yeah, orcs just look amazing. And I did say if new orcs come out at all in any respect, then I'd probably do them as a 40k army, but I don't think I will. I haven't got time, so I might just take a deep breath and let that release pass me by to a degree. Maybe not. See if anybody else around here, sort of Pink or anybody like. I think Pink plays orcs anyway, so I'm hoping he's going to pick them up and do something with them, and we can kind of maybe feature Pink's adventures as he, you know, picks up some of the new models. But I have to say, the kind of Gorka Morka Speed Freak stuff, that's going to be fun, isn't it? Come on, who's not going to enjoy that? Right, what have we got? Elstonation says, I may have a special tutorial for your Wolfie followers. I need to show you. Well, that sounds perfect, Mr. Elstonation. For anybody who hasn't noticed that, go along to wargameronline.com. We have a premium section, and Elstonation has been doing a few guest premium slots while myself and Sam have been catching up on other content, so he's been helping us out there. We've got a lot more to come up. Jack's editing a couple of back reports. We filmed, this is, I'd forgotten this, which is it's tragic, and it's going to get me slightly melancholy for the rest of the show, but I'm going to tell you guys about it. We filmed possibly one of the best battle reports we've ever filmed. It was Jack playing Mark Potter. The armies were Beastclaw Raiders versus Khorne Bloodbound, and it was just the most amazing game. It was incredibly close towards the end. I think it literally went down to the last 2 or 3 dice rolls. It was just one of those perfect games. We got the new setup, where the cameras were behaving themselves. We got beautifully smooth frame rates, 30, 35 frames per second easily. The machine was pumping out, so it was looking super smooth. It was on 1080p because of this new setup we've got, so it was all looking amazing. I was so excited, and one of the files corrupted, so we lost the last, I think, an hour of the battle report. So we get halfway through, and and I've tried all sorts of data recovery tools, all sorts of data recovery software, got absolutely nowhere with it. I cannot recover that file. It makes no sense why it's corrupt either. It's the only thing I can think about is the media I was putting it on. I've completely reformatted it. And we've done test record since. I've left it running literally all night while I was in bed, and got up in the morning, hit stop record, everything is fine. So just absolutely gutted that we lost that battle report. And I'm half tempted to kind of just edit together what we've got, but the point is, it was the last half of the show that was just so amazing. It was incredible. And Jack's Beastclaw Raider, his main character, which is the kind of the Frost Lord on the Stonehorn, it was just phenomenal. He survived you know what, I can do spoilers because you're never going to see the game. The Stonehorn survived the entire game right through to the last turn and just battled so much of the Khorne Bloodbound. It was incredible. Mark was just sending model after model, unit after unit against this thing, and it just stood there. And I think Mark's in the chat actually, so he can probably back me up on this one as well. It was just amazing. Okay, Frost and Fist says, awesome, Elstonation. Well, that is awesome if he's got a video. Definitely Maximus. Personally, I plan on buying a lottery ticket tomorrow. 95 million ought to give me enough room for cool stuff. Is that how much the lottery's up to? Is that in the UK? So is that a Wednesday lottery that's up to 95 million, or is it the Euro one? Anyway, let me know. You never know, I might throw something in. Ralph says, green stuff or milliput for gap filling. Well, for me, green stuff, I think, personally. I think milliput's more of a kind of sculpting putty than it is a gap filler, but horses for courses. Altboy says, evening all, howling at the moon, waiting for the weekend. And green stuff is fine as well. Frost and Fist says, oh no, I've had that happen. It's absolutely gut-wrenching when it happens. You're talking about the loss of the battle report. What was really frustrating is Mark had given so much of his time. He'd come around and spent 2-3 hours with us. It's probably 3-4 hours by the time you get everything done. We'd had this fantastic, the only consolation is I know that both Jack and Mark had this incredible game, so that was great. It was great they'd had that, but at the same time it's just absolutely gut-wrenching that we've just lost it, and it's so frustrating. And the problem is I keep torturing myself, so I keep trying a different piece of software to try and repair that. I can't bring myself to delete the files and just move on. And I think I've probably wasted more time trying to save that game just because it was such a great game than I could have just re-recorded it. The problem is you have to get everybody together for the games and all the rest, but still so frustrating. Right, let's have a little talk through what I'm doing here. You'll kind of notice that I'm basically using masking tape to hold this thing together. The corners are pretty strong actually, so they go together quite well. What I'm doing, for those of you who ever have to build this kind of stuff, is obviously the wood glue's on it. I'm putting it on the upper surface, and what I mean by that is this is the direction of pressure I need to put. So I'm putting it on the upper surface, I'm pressing down, I'm also tugging on the tape to create tension, and then rubbing my thumb down there, which gives me a nice tight joint basically. So that's all I'm trying to do at the moment, is just get those tight joints. It's really hot in the garage as well, so the masking tape is misbehaving itself at the moment. Right, don't have to worry too much about getting it straight because the there goes life interrupting recordings. Don't have to worry about getting it too straight because the back goes on it and straightens everything out. Right, what else is going on? I have the winning numbers. A 10k they are yours. Ralph, I'm not sure that's true. I think if you had the winning numbers to a 95 million last week, you would not sell them for £10,000. Tom Waters, can you guys tell me to stop being a wimp and press buy on the new Space Wolf stuff I have in my basket? Tom, stop it. Just hit buy. What's stopping you? This thing's amazing. It's a really cool bug. And don't forget, you've got lots of cool funky stuff coming out as well. So I know that the primary stuff is not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm a major fan of it, to be honest. I think it's great. I think it's great they're expanding into it, and Space Wolf Primaris looks double hard. Get some wolf pelts on them, get some wolf skulls on them. I really like the kind of chat behind the I've forgotten the name of it, the repulsor. The fact that it kind of, it's grav plates, it's just brutal, so it shatters the ground it travels over, and the way they describe it, and I know it's a pre-existing tech, but others, the way they describe it just sounds so Space Wolfy. They love that it just spear thrust ahead driving into the enemy. It's amazing, love it. Just get on with it. You got all those wonderful Hellfrost weapons and lots of fun, so do it, order it. What are you messing around at? Right, Derpimus Maximus, I'll post-date the check. Oh, nice idea. Ortboy says that's exactly what I did when I built mine. Well, there you go. I think it seems to be the best way of doing it. It creates a bit of tension, makes them nice and tight. I haven't had any issues with fit at all. Particularly, you've got to make sure the drawers fit. I have to say, I've had one or two of the drawers that were slightly larger than the other, and I'm not quite sure what happened. Whether the MDF, and this is not uncommon, the MDF can get a little bit damp maybe. It was one of the deliveries was left outside my back door, which is not brilliant. And if the MDF gets a little bit damp, it swells. And I think one of the drawers, the pieces on it, was about half a millimetre larger than all the other rest of the drawers. So I don't think it was one of the manufacturer's problems. Like I say, I think it just swollen slightly. Which meant the drawers didn't fit, so I did have to get a bit heavy duty with the sander to make it fit properly, but it was all good. It was all good. Dear, Ralph's just trying to con people out of their money, so pay no attention to Ralph in the chat. He's scamming you. He's trying to scam you with his scams. Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't be scammed by the scammer. Depimus Maximus, awesome, thanks everyone, says Tom Wood. Well, there you go. I hope that you've done it. I'd like to see evidence of your purchase basket, so as soon as your stuff arrives, let's get some stuff up on the War Gamer Online community, a Facebook group. Let's see that order coming in, and maybe put some of that stuff up on the forum as well. We're rapidly approaching the end of the month as well, aren't we? So I dare say, providing Sam recovers, we'll be seeing some WGO Chronicles stuff towards the end of the month, which would be good to kind of bring that to a close, see where everybody got to, see how much they got done, and maybe think about a Christmas one. I think that has to be the next push, doesn't it? It's something towards Christmas. I know for me, I've got a couple of projects I definitely want to get completed by Christmas. Did I get everything done I wanted to do for WGO Chronicles? No, because I'll be honest, the channel stuff kind of got in the way a little bit over the last few weeks. So I haven't really. There's a unit of my fire slayers I need to finish, and there is 2 magma drafts that just need the final touch. You know what's annoying? They probably need about 60 minutes worth of painting to finish them, and it's just finding that 60 minutes, isn't it? You don't have to, your account gives you away. Right, okay then, so what is everybody else thinking about what's going on with the Games Workshop releases at the moment then? Who has bought into Adeptus Titanicus? Has anybody picked that up? Is anybody interested in that? What do they think to the boom of specialist games at the moment, you know? You want more? Do you need a bit of a break? Does your wallet need a bit of a break? Or are you good? Are you still happy, you know, with everything that's coming out? Because, you know, on part of it you go, this is a hell of a lot in terms of releases, and then you go, well, actually you don't have to play everything, you don't have to own everything. That's all cool. Just go for the stuff that you really love. So like the Orc stuff, you know, I absolutely would love to do the Orcs, but for me, with everything I've got on, I think the Orcs have to, you know, I'll give it a miss. And then in a couple of years time, if I get a chance to, you know, come back round and do Orcs, then cool, I'll do that. But right now, I really want to get my Genestealer cult finished. There's some really cool Genestealer cults stuff coming out with Space Wolves, so I'd love to pick some of that stuff up. And then I want to get back onto Age of Sigmar and Iden of Deepkin. You know, I'm really, really keen on that army. I'd like to give that a go. And I've still, amongst all of that, fit in a couple of funky kill teams. I know that Jack is considering a Tau kill team. That wasn't done based on any rule analysis or anything. We were sat in the car just talking about different factions we'd like to do, and you know, the stuff that you don't see as much, and is that an opportunity to do with kill teams. And I have to say, around here we don't see a lot of Tau, so yeah, that would be kind of cool too. DJ the Lucky One says, I'm not going to finish my Chronicles. I need an ironclad and there's too much distraction. It is a problem. It is a problem. We are all easily distracted. There you go. So that's the outer case of this HobbyZone thing done. And as you can see, plenty of tape on it. I've given it a wipe down with a damp cloth, so there's no glue overrun and all the rest. So that back, aligning the back to the edges, nice and neat, has made the entire unit nice and square, which is good. You put that to one side, and then I'm going to start on one of the drawers. These are a little bit trickier. I think they're a little bit trickier. You've just got to kind of have a little bit of forward planning with the drawers, basically. So just like before, what I'm going to do is get some, you know, masking tape on the bottom of here to help me tack this together, and we'll drop a bit of glue in there. And I just lever these little small pieces of masking tape up just to hold it temporarily while I get the rest of it on. I've had these, by the way, when I've put a bit of pressure on them, just fly apart before I've got all the tape on. So expect HobbyZone comedy any minute now. Right, what we got going up in the chat? Dipimus Maximus, I've still not decided on a chapter symbol, done squad markings or anything. Come on, pull your finger out. Oh boy says I've pre-ordered the Space Wolf Codex cards, the new box set, and a few boxes of Witch Elves, I think is that, or Rich Elves. I'm going to go with Witch Elves. That is cool. Dipimus Maximus. Though I'm in the process of building the Soul War stuff, so maybe I'll go with the gold boys or Deados for Christmas Chronicles. Gold boys, I like that. Yeah, well, you know, I've still got I actually finished them, so I did finish the undead that came with the set. They've yet to make it to a battle report. We're gonna you know, I need to have a period of time where we focus on getting some battle reports filmed. We've got, hopefully there's a couple of new volunteers to help get the edits done, which is definitely going to help with it. Sorry about this, folks. I'm probably going to need to send that person a message because they're probably just going to keep ringing every 10 seconds. So I might do that in a second if you guys don't mind. Although, you know what, I can't find my phone. Obviously squirreled it away somewhere, so let's not worry about it. Yeah, the Soul War stuff was really great. We got some of the Deados, as you called them. They're pretty finished. Never used them, but with some additional editors for the channel, you're going to see a splurge of content, hopefully. We're definitely in a bit of a better position. I'm going to spend some time. It's bank holiday weekend in the UK next weekend. I'm spending some time down at the studio, the main studio that is, and we are going to try and get one filmed in the main studio. And once it's up and running, we can talk to the guys in the local area about getting more and more back reports done. So it's you know, it's been a trying summer, I'd have to say. We haven't got as much content done as we want, definitely, but we've both had a lot on. Which has kind of like slowed that production content down a little bit, but luckily I think now, as we go into the winter, I think you're going to kind of see an increase of content from us, which will be good, because I certainly enjoy doing the battle reports. I enjoy playing them, and actually in the new format we do, I quite enjoy editing them as well, so it's all good fun, but we just need some additional help with the edits, really. I think that's the main thing that takes time. As you know, as people know, I actually still have a day job to do as well. You know, and in Sam, when he's investing a chunk of time into the tutorials and stuff that he's working on, it does take a lot of time, even just to get the raw content together for that. So yeah, that's where we're at. Note to mention, when you're doing the drawers, on the back of the drawer, do the white on the inside, just because it. One thing, there's a window on the front, so you can see from the front to the back of the drawer, and also I think it just helps see what's in the drawer, because it kind of reflects light a little bit, which makes the inside of the drawer lighter, and you know, otherwise that white face would just be lost anyway, because this drawer just basically goes into a unit like that. There you go, it's already wanting to go in, it's very happy. Okay, the next bit's a little bit tricky, but you know, after a bit of practice, this is how I came to do it. Frost and Fisters. I ordered my collector's edition codex, the dice and the data cards on Saturday. I am so stoked. You know, of everybody in the world, I expected you to get the collector's edition. Come on, you're all about the wolves, so well done on that one. You know, I've in the past done the collector's editions, but I've been moving more and more towards digital, which means a lot of the times I've not bothered with them, you know, recently, because I've just kind of, you know, pre-ordered the digital edition when it comes out and gone with that. I think, you know, from my perspective, it really helps. I'm carrying less stuff around when I've got the digital edition, so, but it is nice to get those collector's editions, and if you're a lifelong fan of the stuff, then you know, it makes absolute sense. Got some glue on my window. That's so frustrating. I'll wipe it off once it's dry. Old Boy says at £35 a box of 10, I call them rich elves. Yeah, Jack found that. Jack is actually working on, we've got a bunch of them up here. That, if I can grab one of those. I wonder what that was. Okay, can you see that? I think you can see that. You can see it there or there, I'm not quite sure. So there you go, he's working on his, they're on my little thimbles at the moment. And they've not got their heads on either, because he's decided to paint the heads separately so he can get more detail into them. But there you go, he's been working on those, and yeah, that entire range is it's not cheap, is it? But my goodness, they are beautiful models. And I think the witch elves, just the basic witch elves, have always been expensive, if I remember rightly. You know, right from their first release. Put some pressure on that, Phil. Tom Ward says thanks for the Tom Ward, I ordered the Codex Tooth and Claw box set and dice and cards. Nice one. I don't think you'll have any regrets with that. That Tooth and Claw set is amazing. I kind of need somebody I can go halves with for the Gene Stealer Cult stuff though. I've not ordered it yet, because I do need someone, and I've not organised it. Jack kind of has plenty of Space Wolf stuff, so I don't think he. You know what? I haven't even asked Jack. He's putting all of his money into his driving tests and stuff at the moment, because he's at that age now where he's realised everything costs money. So he's got a job, a part-time job, and he's saving up, and he's saving up for a school trip where he's going off to India next summer. And he's going to pay for it all for himself. He's doing charity, like fundraising events, and he's got this job where he's saving it up, and he's worked out exactly how much he has to save every month, and he's on it. He's doing a good job, so he's doing that, and then in between the money was the money he got spare from that, he's been paying for driving lessons. So Jack's going to be driving soon, which is terrifying, but it might be useful for Liam, who has dragged his heels on this whole driving side of things, but at least it's somebody else that could take you home at the end of the day, Liam, so maybe we could get some back reps filmed. Right. Old Boy says, Frost and Fist, awesome, Tom. Of course, Mr. Frost and Fist thinks that's awesome. Old Boy says, I didn't go for the Space Wolf dice as I'm not keen on the symbols on 1 and 6. Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously they used to get quite a lot of criticism when they only put the symbols on the 1, didn't they? You tend not to see that anymore. I think for me, I quite like custom dice. I'm a big fan of the custom dice. But since we started doing the battle reports, we've got the WGO dice made up, and you know, they were simultaneously designed, obviously to represent the brand, the red, the black, the white. But they also work well on camera for the dice trays that we do and the rest. So you know, I haven't bought any custom dice since, simply because, as I say, we're always going to use the WGO dice given the choice. So even though some of them seem to roll absolutely insanely, but that's another story. Tom Ward says, if one of the guys in my local shop isn't interested, Phil, maybe if you were interested. Well, there you go. If Jack's not interested, then yeah, let me know. Let me know, Tom. But I'm sure there probably is somebody interested in it because they're cool models, without a doubt. I just need to get myself organised, find somebody who's interested in the Space Wolf stuff. I'll have a word with Jack, but like I say, he's spending all of his pennies on bettering his life at the moment, so don't know whether he's got any spare for plastic crackers, they say. You'll know tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Tom. Frost and Fist, Alt Boys, totally understandable. I found the same thing weird with my Marafi dice. Frost and Fist, Marafi dice? What's going off there? I think I missed that boat. Okay, right, come on. It's a little bit tricky on that. I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing on camera, but essentially, I'm just putting that little strip just to support it while I get the fronts and the backs on. Basically, that's all that's about. It doesn't give any real pressure. It just holds it together while I do these bits. Frost and Fist, lol, I'm not even sure I use them. My Dark Imperium dice roll really well. That's another thing as well. We have some really interesting games with those WGO dice. Sometimes they just seem to roll dreadfully, and then other games we've played, they roll 5s and 6s, nothing else. It's just insane. And in fact, the Lost Battle Report, as it will be known as from now on, had some incredible rolls in it. You know, both Mark and Jack causing incredible damage, and then having them simultaneously being saved. If there's a data recovery expert out there, give me a nod. I'll get a file over to you and see if you can save it for me. Right, okay then. Tom Ward says, I think I just burst a blood vessel. Just as planned. Oh dear me. Right. Oh, you could always use the Space Wolves as basing bits for Thousand Suns. Come on, that's not nice on Tom. Anyway, I've got 1,000 Suns 30k army in a box. And what I mean by in a box, I mean is like literally in a box, ready for building. One day. I do like the 1,000 Suns army for 30k. But you know, with the 8th edition, it kind of like moved us away a little bit from that, and I don't know whether I'll be able to. Pick up a Heresy game again. Lots of people are still playing it, aren't they? I mean, a huge amount of people are still playing it. So I don't know. We said we'd get some Heresy players to do a game. I know Luke is on about coming down and maybe taking somebody on a Heresy game. Jack has a Heresy army. He has Death Guard. Are they called Death Guard in Heresy? I think they are. Mortarian, isn't it? So you'll have to excuse my ignorance when it comes to things Space Marine. So yes, Jack's got Death Guard, and I think Luke has got. You know what? I have no idea what Luke's got. Blood Angels, Dark Angels? No, not Dark Angels. Can't remember. Anyway. Right, Ulster Nation has sent me a link actually, so I'll have a look at that after the show, and we'll see what that is, and I'll have a quick chat with him, and if he's cool with that, we'll get that up on premium for a couple of weeks, and then you'll be able to catch it on his channel as well. Right, Phil, did I get a chance to listen to the podcast? I've been away this weekend, so that's on my to-do list. Thank you very much. My plan is to listen to that on the drive into work tomorrow, but thank you very much. Apparently it's very funny, so I will give it a listen, and thank you very much for sending me the link. But like I say, been with the family all weekend, so stuck it on my to-do list, downloaded it, and it's ready for the drive into work tomorrow, so hopefully I'll get stuck in traffic and catch it all. Made a real mess of that. Beige Angels, the most average Space Marine chapter ever. It could be that. It could be that. I got you on the Angels, don't worry, I got you back there, dude. Complete mess of that, never mind. Right, yeah, it's all cool with me, says Ulster Nation. Will do. Cool, man, thank you. I shall check that out when the show's over. Got a little bit of work to do tonight for the day job before I go in. I've got to just catch up on a few emails, so I'm ahead of the game before I land at the office tomorrow. But I should get a chance to do a couple of little bits. And, you know, the other thing is, at least, not only have I done a show, I've got another unit built. That's not bad. Because that's the thing about these, is it's kind of like the IKEA flat pack stuff. It does take an investment of time to get these things built, and I suggest you don't rush them. You know, you take your time, you do them well, you make sure everything's square, because if you take your time on the build and get the joints nice and tight, that's going to save time later on. It's going to save time. Most of the time you don't even have to touch these with sandpaper or anything. They'll just go together. Beautiful fit, beautiful alignment. You know, these drawers just slide in and out. It's absolutely brilliant. Right, almost there, folks, almost there. Then we might just have a little bit of a recap, see what everybody else is saying in the chat, and possibly call it a night, because I plan to kind of call it a day around about 10 o'clock. Right, Frost and Fist says, I know the feel, Ralph. My plan this year has been to paint 100 pieces of my backlog before allowing myself to vary into the Daughters of Cain. Well, there you go. I think it is good to instill some discipline. I think you've got to be careful not to take the fun out of it, because as soon as you say, well, I'm going to do all of these things that I'm not particularly energized about before I can do the things that I really want to do, you can kind of kill the fun, and then you just kill the mojo, and before you know it, you're not doing anything. So do be careful of that. But I've always kind of done that whole risk and reward scheme. If there's a job that I really, really want to do, then I set myself a kind of more achievable objective in between. So I'll say, okay, then as long as I get, you know, this unit of 20 painted, then I can treat myself to painting that big war boss or whatever that I was really looking forward to painting. So you kind of do it like that. You set yourself kind of mini objectives, and at least you can kind of keep yourself motivated. That's not going in, not because of anything wrong with this. It's because I've got a little bit of extra masking tape on there, just making it just too wide for it to go in. So I'm not complaining. I was just testing the fit to see what it was like. Sometimes you can get these things together. So there you go. That's one HobbyZone tray done. Oh, yep, I have messed up. A little bit sticky because it's got masking tape on. All that needs to be done is to fit the magnets into it, and it can go alongside the rest of my unit. See if I can pop one of these off so you get an idea of how they fit together. This is a corner piece. So is that on camera? Yeah, it is. So this would clip like that, and as you can see, it's kind of like a corner drawer set, which will go alongside these drawers like that. And then on the row above you would have paint racks or whatever. You could go 2 or 3 or 4 of these high. So that's how it works. And in fact, I've even got I'm going to spill this stuff everywhere. Just see, there you go. Did you see the magnet sort of snap to on that? So you get the idea how that works. So you can kind of see that they quite a firm attachment. They just clip together. You pop them on the end of your next unit, and bang, it all fits in place. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. And I'm pretty excited to move into it when it's all built. I'm going to be pretty excited to kind of spend some time moving into it, fitting all my little hobby bits into the drawers and getting perfectly happy with it. There's some stuff that's quite nice. Let's just see if I can grab that one without destroying everything. So here we go. This is really nice. So this is a tool rack. Is that on camera? There you go. I might just have to swap back to the full camera so you guys can see it. There you go, that's a tool rack. I really like the simplicity of that bar. You just throw those over, and as you can see, I could probably get another 5 or 6 tools on there, and I do actually have some extra tools, so I'm just going to slot those over there. And then you've got this paint and tool rack. Loads of options, loads of different sizes. You can get your drill down the back there, and there's even a little place to put the drill bits, which I think is pretty cute. And I've got my saw blades and stuff like that tucked in the bottom. Not a bigger knife in there, but probably the big knives I'll probably just put in one of the drawer systems. But that sits alongside the paint bottle system and all the rest. So that's what would go on top of one of those units. And yeah, really like it. It's good stuff. I know it's been out since about 2015, but yeah, really well established. And I think that every now and then they bring something new out as well, which has got to be good. So they kind of keep adding to the range as well. But I think they've mainly got it. The only thing I was sort of looking at overall is I'd like to see some combination stuff. So they do a drawer unit that's 3 narrow drawers. They do a drawer unit that's 2 wide drawers, both the same height, 15 centimeters high. And I'd kind of like to see almost like a narrow one and then an even deeper drawer or something like that, so you've kind of got more options available to you. But I get why they don't do it. I mean, the reality is most of what you're getting, you'll work it out. You'll fit your stuff in it, if you know what I mean. So I get why they do it. It's just more of them to support, more of them to do. This is stuff I've been working on. So, I've been working on my own little rack systems and stuff like that. So I've built a unit that goes around my airbrush station. If you go along to Wargamer Online community on Facebook and just search for me, Phil Morts, you will see some of my more recent postings, and on that I've actually posted up the kind of custom housing I've built to fit my airbrush extraction air filter in. And I built it to the dimensions of the HobbyZone stuff, and I even magnetized the side so the rest of the units click to it and stuff. And I've got kind of that airbrush drawer, and I've made a little drawer just for all my bits and bobs. And again, I've not fully moved into this, so I've just thrown some bits in because I'm so excited. And guess what? I even put a camera mount on there as well, which is going to be really useful when I'm doing the airbrush tutorials. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it so far. No, I also did a pressure release there, the pressure adjustment as well into the unit as well. So I'm very, very happy with how it's turned out, basically. Big smile on my face, at least. Tempted to start Daughters of Cain, and Frost and Fizz is saying they look phenomenal, great models. Yes, they are. DJ the Lucky One says, don't put your hard disk next to those magnets. No, I won't. Although, the hard disk with the faulty battery port, I feel like doing something rather brutal to that drive because I just don't trust it anymore. So it's quite sad, isn't it, when something lets you down like that. I've got it. It could have been a glitch. It could have been anything, but who knows? But it's so frustrating. Certainly what I'll be doing in future battle reports is not just leave it running for 2 hours, assuming everything's fine, even though I've kind of, done that. Like I say, I've done tests and everything's been fine, but just because I had that shocker, I think what I'm going to do is just like sort of hit pause, or rather stop and then record again at the end of every turn or something. So worst comes to the worst, I'll lose a turn, and you could always be kind of awkward, but maybe go back, I don't know. But even so, at least I'd be, if I lost some footage, you'd be aware of it as it's running along rather than at the very end, which was terribly demoralising. Right, it is 3 minutes to 10, so I'm probably going to wrap up at that. I don't want to start another project just before I go into the end of the show. I've got a few jobs to do before I go to bed tonight. Nobody asked any questions on the Space Wolf Codex, which is cool, because I've not really read it fully, so I would have had to kind of flip through it anyway, but that's not a problem. Yep, there you go, one last switch over. I'll be having a look at what people have messaged me. I've got a podcast to listen to. I've got a couple of videos to watch. Will I be around this weekend? We might try and do a live battle on Twitch on Wednesday, which will then go up to premium. Because I'm so frustrated about it. I'm going to see if there's some players around for Wednesday to do a battle report. Because it'd be cool if we could get that done. And like I say, probably now a little bit happier with the technology because I've sort of bedded it in on the last couple of reports. And if we stick it up on Twitch, those people who can catch them on Twitch, brilliant. If not, pop along to premium and you'll catch them on there. So that's what I'll probably do, and might go again on either Friday, but we're definitely going to be doing something at the weekend as well. So there you go. I think that's it for tonight. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you very much for coming along. Thank you for everybody in the chat who's kept me going as I've stuck my wooden HobbyZone bits together. I'm going to be doing a bit more on HobbyZone over the next few weeks as well, so I'm going to be covering some of the stuff, you know, the setup in the studio, how I did planning and those kind of things, and you know, maybe a couple more sessions on putting this stuff together. So you know, look out for that as well if you're interested in that product range, or just wondering, you know, interested in what I'm doing with the studio. But that's it for tonight, so thank you very much. Pop along to the community, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, and if you're not already, have a good think about supporting us by joining the premium membership at the channel, because that's actually our main way that we can do these stuff and keep us going. So it helps support us, we invest it in the channel, and it keeps us all going wonderfully. So thanks a lot. See you all again soon. And because my technology is over here, I'm going to have to do this awkward bit where I turn to the side and try and find out how to stop broadcasting. So bye all, see you later. Right.